If you're over 50 and you feel lost and you feel like you should know your purpose in life by now, but you genuinely just don't know, it's okay. This video is for you. It's not your fault that you don't know what you want to do with your life. You see, you've been lied to about how to find your purpose in life. And today I'm going to expose that lie to you. I'm going to share with you the truth, and I'm going to also share with you what you need to do next. An old man once told me, "You're young right now, but one day it's going to hit you." I had no idea what he was talking about, but he was right. One day it did hit me. I was about 55, maybe 56 when I realized what it was that the old man had talked about. I realized that every day I woke up, I had one day less to live than the day before. And to be honest, it scared the hell out of me. It made me realize that I couldn't just be out here trying stuff in my life anymore. I had to be intentional. I didn't have time to waste anymore. And I knew if I wanted to stop feeling lost, if I wanted to stop dreading having to get up on Monday morning to go to a job that I kind of hated, that I was going to have to do something different. I could not keep doing what had always been doing. And every time I got ready to make a change, there would be a part of me that would say something, or I would hear this voice in my head that say, "Oh, Eric, you'll figure it out eventually." And you're probably in the same place where every time you talk about or think about making a change in your life to live the life that you actually want, you hear that voice in your head that says, "Oh, you'll figure it out eventually." What I want to share with you is that eventually that you're talking about is costing you the most important years of your life. I don't have any degrees. I don't have any certifications. I'm just a regular person, just like you. But after I realized that I was actually each day that I had one day less than the day before, things got real serious for me, especially around finding meaning and purpose in my life. It became more about living a more fulfilled life. I got tired of I really started paying attention to that feeling of being lost, like I didn't know what I wanted in my life. And it got so serious that I actually wrote a book and published a book called The Purpose Map about how to find your purpose in life. And I spent about a year on a speaking tour going around coaching and helping people to determine or define their purpose in life and how they could actually make it happen. And if you're tired of waking up every day with no energy, no excitement, with no purpose in your life, then click on the link in the description below and schedule a call with me. I've been where you are. I know exactly how you feel, and it's not too late for you to have the life that you want. Before I tell you about the new way to find your purpose, I want to talk to you about some of the things that you've already tried to find your purpose, or some things that you might be trying right now. And none of those things have worked for you, and they haven't worked because they're not designed to work for you. You see, all of those things that you've been hearing about, that people have been telling you, all the thought leaders around purpose have been telling you to do to find purpose in your life, those things are designed to make you dependent upon someone else or something else. And there are four of them. And this first one is one that had me stuck for decades. And I know you've heard of it too. It's what I call the passion approach. It's where, and you've heard it before, you need to follow your passion, or your passion will lead you to your purpose. The problem is, if you're like me over 50, you don't have one passion. You have multiple things, multiple passions. You have several things that you're really engaged with, that you really find inspire you and make you curious. So there's no one thing. So trying to follow your passion, that just doesn't work. The next one is what I call the bucket list approach, where you're just checking off a list of things. Like you hear people say, oh, well, you need to travel. You need to experience this. You need to try that. You need to go skydiving. You need to go deep sea diving. All this other stuff you need to, on some list, what they call a bucket list, you need to check off. That didn't work for me either. And it probably hasn't worked for you. Because the truth is, you can try a lot of new things, a lot of different things. You can try something new every day, but that still doesn't mean you won't feel empty and you won't feel lost. The third one is what I call the legacy approach. And the idea is that you're going to find your purpose by doing something that's going to create a legacy that's going to create something that you can leave behind for either your family, your children, or for just the world. The problem with the legacy thing is that legacy is something that's, depending on how old you are, is might be 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years away. Legacy is not going to tell you what you need to do tomorrow. It's going to give you a destination that's, like I said, years or decades away. It's not going to help you in your current situation about what you're going to do in your life tomorrow morning. And this fourth one is what I call the keep busy or stay busy approach. And that I've tried that one. I've actually tried all of these. But the one about staying busy is where you kind of get involved in volunteer work, or you wrap yourself up in your grandchildren. I don't have any grandchildren, but you wrap yourself up in grandchildren, or maybe you take up a sport, or you just try to fill your calendar up with things. And the problem with this is you could fill up your calendar all day long for weeks and months ahead of time. That is not going to get rid of that empty, lost feeling. It's just going to give you something to do every day. It's just going to keep you busy. Now, none of these are wrong. There's no wrong in these. It's just that none of them get to the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that in all of these things, in all four of these approaches, or in any approach when it comes to what you've heard or what you've been taught or led to believe about finding your purpose, it was always from a perspective of you need to do something that you enjoy, something that piques your interest, something that is intriguing to you, something that excites you. So you're always looking for something that you want to do, something that you want to lean into. But what if finding your purpose, or the way to find your purpose, involves you doing something that you don't like, something that makes you angry? Now, hear me out. Now, what I'm about to say is going to change everything. It's going to change your perspective about how you've been taught and led to believe about how you need to go about finding your purpose. For more than 20 years, I was just going through the motions, working, paying bills, raising kids. Every day was just the same. And as I mentioned earlier, when I got into my 50s, I wrote a book about how to find your purpose in life. And I went on a speaking tour to help people define their purpose in life and what they could do to make it happen. And I wrote that book, and I went on that speaking tour because I was tired of watching people like myself who had gotten into their late 40s or 50s or maybe even in their 60s, and they had not found meaning and purpose in their life. They weren't really happy. They were just existing. And I knew how frustrating that was for me. And I knew how just bland and boring that was. And I got tired of watching people do that because they had been, in my opinion, lied to about how to find their purpose. And I knew that if they had been listening to the same purpose gurus that I had been listening to, they were going to stay lost their entire life. They were never going to find it. And that's something I just couldn't sit by and watch happen. And what I want to share with you is it's not about passion. It's not about a bucket list. It's not about a legacy. It's not about any of that stuff. To find your purpose, you need to follow your frustrations. Because when you get involved in something that you enjoy doing, something that you like doing, that doesn't have the same it doesn't have the same energy. It doesn't have the same push that something that frustrates you and angers you and kind of niggles at you, that gets under your skin, that irritates you, that's real energy. That's real power. That's a real motivator. So here's what I want you to do. It's only going to take about 15 minutes, and all you need is a pen and a piece of paper. And I want you to write down the answers to these two questions. Now, I don't want you to edit what you're writing. I don't want you to second guess yourself. And to do this, it's really important that you go somewhere that's quiet, where you don't have any distractions. So maybe go sit out in your car during lunch, or maybe one evening or something. Get away from the kids, get away from the family. Turn off your phone, or better yet, don't even take your phone with you, because it's only going to be 15 minutes. You only need about 15 to 20 minutes to do this. So you want to be quiet, still, and you don't want to have any distractions. Leave your phone. So question number one is, what problem in the world do you see that angers you? Not that concerns you, not that kind of you think about, but it actually gets under your skin. Something that really annoys you, really frustrates you, that every time you see it or every time you hear about it, it causes a physical reaction in you. And question number two is, what piece of this problem do you want to solve? So, for example, you might say, well, you know what? I hate that people in other countries are hungry. I hate that there's a food shortage in the world. So that's a problem that you individually can't solve, because it's such a huge problem. You're talking about world hunger. But there's a piece of that problem that you could solve. It might be you eliminating hunger in your neighborhood, or in your town, or you live in a small city, or it might be you eliminating hunger for the kids at your elementary school, or your middle school, or your high school. You could take that bigger problem and you could narrow it down to something that's manageable, that you yourself can fix or solve. Now, this isn't complicated. I don't want you to overthink this. I don't want you to second guess yourself. I just want you to take a moment and write these things down. The goal here is just to get it out of your head. These ideas, these frustrations, what they are is they're stones that are forming a path that will take you and lead you to your purpose. I want you to imagine something. It's Monday morning and you wake up and you're excited, you're energized, because you know what that day is for. You're creating something that's tangible, something that's real, something that's making a difference. And you could be making money doing it. So, for example, a very close friend of mine got molested when she was 9 years old. The lady next door to her would come over and watch her after school. And this happened for several years until my friend was old enough to go to middle school, and they moved out of the neighborhood. But that trauma lived with her, and she always wanted to do something for other kids so that wouldn't happen to them. So she was maybe 53, maybe 54, when she started her own after school program, so that kids would not have to go home by themselves. They would have a safe place to come to after school until their parents were able to pick them up. And she has saved or prevented hundreds of children from that happening to them. And she also, that program generates every year about $30,000 a month that has put her on a path to financial freedom. So if you look at what has happened in your life, something that frustrated you, something that you see in the world that irritates you, that annoys you, that makes you angry, that's what you need to guide you. Allow that to lead you to your purpose. If you don't remember anything else from this video, I want you to remember this, that your frustration is going to lead you to your purpose, not your passion. And all you need is 15 minutes, a pen, a sheet of paper, answering two questions, and I promise you it's going to change your life. And if you're tired of feeling lost and feeling like you're just wasting your life away, click on the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.